Oh, are you gonna get it? Oh boy.
Mom, come be in my picture.
Okay. Oh, are you gonna get it? Oh boy.
Mom, come be in my picture.
Okay.
That was January 8th, 2021, when Kiely Rodni took a hike in the snow with her mom and a dog.
Oh boy.
Mom, come be in my picture.
Okay.
It appears she was about to take a selfie when she changed her mind and said, "Mom, come be in my picture." It seems like the first time I've heard Kiely Rodni's speaking voice. There seems to be a dearth of videos of Kiely, even though she's a 16-year-old missing girl out of Truckee, California. I haven't been able to find many public videos of her, but I'm wondering, in that video, was Kiely holding the same iPhone that would go missing along with her and her Honda CR-V nearly 19 months later? In this video, we're going over Kiely Rodni's timeline. We're going to talk about before and after at the sanctuary, which is what the kids call the clearing in the Prosser family campgrounds, where Kiely was last spotted. According to Elsa, who was at the party, she saw Kiely around midnight. According to her much beleaguered and much maligned friend, Sami Smith, the last recorded sighting of Kiely was at 12:40 a.m. and allegedly Sami says she was the last person to speak to Kiely at 12:36 a.m. via phone. Now, that same day, Saturday, August 6th at 12:54 p.m., the Nevada County scanner picked up the first instance I could find after listening to hours and hours of audio over the past few days. It was the first instance I could find of the search, when Nevada County said they would be assisting the Placer County Sheriff in their search at Prosser Reservoir for a missing person. Subscribe to Plunder.
Page 20.
This is Placer County Sheriff in the search, Prosser area. Can you start a log?
Copy, Rosso. This is Placer County on the search. And what area are you going to be in?
Prosser Reservoir up near Truckee.
Zipper across the reservoir, my truck.
As the search for Kiely drags on another day, more information is coming out. Sami is going to explain how Kiely allegedly planned to get drunk and effed up, and how Kiely planned this little ruse, according to Sami, to make it past curfew by lying to her mom, Lindsay, and telling her mom that she couldn't find her friend and that's why she was missing curfew, so her mom wouldn't say, "Get home now." It's kind of what I guessed in one of my previous videos. I wondered if that was part of the reason for all these strange differing stories about whether Kiely planned to spend the night or what time she planned to come home. What went so wrong at this sanctuary party that is at the center of this mystery of this missing 16-year-old girl? According to a private investigator known as SF Investigates on Twitter, he wrote, "There is confirmation of certain people at the party outside the circle of friends. The family knows some details about right before she left the party." I'm assuming he means right before Kiely left the party. He wrote, "Give law enforcement time to do their thing. More is known than it appears." Then he starts speaking about Mags, or Magdalene, Kiely's best friend, who went with her to the party. I don't have a hard and fast confirmed time of when they arrived. I heard they arrived around 10:30. But the PI wrote, "Mags leaving after 10 minutes is not suspicious. There is a reason." He wrote, "I have heard people comment that it seems suspicious to go all the way to the party and then leave 10 minutes later. People, rightfully so, are analyzing all the data points available, and I could see why that could look odd. I was told a reason why, and it makes sense to me. I'm not sure if he's referencing what Mags told the news when she said she got there and 5 guys forcefully tried to make her take all the bong rips she could, and it made her uncomfortable without her boyfriend even being there, and if that's why she decided to leave, or if this PI is referencing something that we don't know yet. But let's go over in my days and days of research of trying to put together a better detailed timeline, because obviously some things have changed. Whereas previously, during the initial stages of this investigation, the public may have been told nobody saw Kiely at the party except Sami, I see that is no longer true. We have Elsa coming out who saw Kiely, and we'll go over another person who claims they saw Kiely. But let's start with August 5th, 2022, 6:08 p.m. That's when the Placer County Sheriff's Office has confirmed a timestamp of Kiely appearing on surveillance video at a local truckie business. Cops would not disclose what business, and they have not yet released the video footage, but just a screenshot from the video. Kiely wearing that black bodysuit and the green Dickies pants, grommet belt. Now, some locals believe she was at the Truckee River RV Park gas station in Eastside Deli in that video. Apparently, it's a place to stop and get cheap gas. Did Kiely put some gas in her Honda CR-V? Was she there for one of their great sandwiches or some other reason? She, at 16, would not have been allowed to buy alcohol, one of their craft beers they apparently sell there. But did someone else supply the underage girls alcohol that night? According to Sami, getting drunk and effed up was definitely in Kiely's plans. Now, Sami has been talking to the Sun, and I know some people don't trust the Sun. I know some people equate it to the National Enquirer, or they like to call the Daily Mail the Daily Fail. One thing I trust with publications, some like the Daily Mail who've been sued or threatened with lawsuits, is I know they don't like to make up quotes or libel or slander anyone. But Sami told the Sun, and she is 18 years old, by the way. The PI investigated and found out she's not in her 20s, she's 18. He kind of rails on people who do shoddy research, and he showed us how he did professional research. And one more thing that PI did say, stop calling the cops and telling them Sami is really some 20-something-year-old. You'll see Placer County did put out a statement today saying some of these tips we're being inundated with are just duplicates. And this PI told the person, whoever's calling the cops and saying, Sami's really a 20-something-year-old. He's saying, stop doing that. So 18-year-old Sami, who True Crime Rocket Science found her graduation video. You can go over there and watch it if you want. Sami said that Kiely was telling her mom she was going to be the designated driver because that's how she was going out to the party, giving an alibi so that her mom didn't freak out and say, I want you home early. I think it was interesting she used the word alibi, and that is maybe a little bit strange of a word to use at that point, but Sami saying Kiely was telling her mom, look mom, I'll be the designated driver, I'll be the responsible one taking care and driving my friends. So that's what Kiely was telling her mom allegedly, but Sami said that Kiely, quote, planned on getting drunk and getting effed up. I asked her earlier on in the night if she could take me home, but she was in no fit state to drive. She had asked her mom for a later curfew. She was going to text her mom saying she couldn't find her friend, which is why she'd be home late. I don't think she ever sent that text. This was a really telling statement to me. Some people are going so hard on the parents. Some people are being really unfair to Lindsay, in my opinion, but it's like the equivalent of kicking someone when they're down. I mean, the mom and dad are already just the mom, dad, stepdad, or her mom's partner. The PI will talk about the pain he saw in Kiely's dad's eyes. People, I feel like, are kicking them while they're down. I thought about this. This is one reason maybe why Lindsay went ahead and told Kiely, okay, you can go to this party. First off, it's local. It's something the kids have always gone to, apparently. I don't think many of the parents perhaps knew there would be all these other people from surrounding areas there, older people, the types of substances that would be there. Her mom probably didn't know Kiely's plans to get drunk and effed up. I find it interesting that Sami said drunk and effed up. So does she mean Kiely just planned on getting really, really drunk? Is that what she means by effed up? Or does she mean Kiely planned on getting drunk and effed up in some other way, using some other substances? I think a lot of statements aren't necessarily contradictory. I think as time goes on, we're just learning more and more different aspects, like looking at all the facets of a diamond, stuff you didn't see before, maybe stuff people didn't feel comfortable saying before. When this case first started, Sami barely mentioned Kiely being inebriated. Maybe now she's realizing, hopefully, I better spill more and more details. And I'm assuming she spilled the most details to the cops by now. But now these details are leaking out more and more publicly. And it's giving a fuller picture. So if Lindsay thought, well, it is her graduation farewell type of party, if she thought it was just local kids gonna be there, if she thought Kiely was going to be the responsible designated driver, not getting drunk, not drinking, responsible, maybe that's why Lindsay let her experience life on a longer leash than perhaps they would allow their children who are the same age. So that explains a lot. I find it so odd and ominous that Sami is saying Kiely was planning on texting her mom and saying, oh, I can't find my friend. That's why I'm late. That's why I'm missing curfew. But Sami says, I don't think she ever sent that text. Now, certain things, of course, Sami won't know. Certain things Sami might know from police. We'll see. August 5th, around 10:30, I believe it's when Sami said the party started getting crowded. But apparently, it seems like 12:30 was when things really started popping off. On August 5th at 11:30, that was the last text that Kiely sent to her mom. This part had gotten a little confusing because of so many interviews and misspeaking. Lindsay got a text from Kiely asking if she could have her curfew extended. Lindsay told The Independent, a really great publication, that Kiely sent her a final text message at 11:30 saying, Mom, I'll leave the party in 45 minutes at 12:15. If her drive home took about 30 minutes, Kiely should have been home well before 1 a.m. So Kiely's mom said, quote, she said she'd be leaving at 12:15 and was going to start heading home. Therefore, by my calculations, Kiely should have been home by 1 a.m. This is where I wonder about Sami's words. I wonder, did Kiely plan on texting her mom again at 12:15 to buy herself a little more time? If Sami's story is true, was Kiely trying to buy herself even more time? At 12:15, did Kiely still want to hang out more? Who was she hanging around? Was it Kiely's plan at 12:15 to say, Mom, I can't find my friend anywhere. I'm just going to look and find her? Was that a way for Kiely to stretch it out even later? And is that when trouble started? As August 5th transitioned into August 6th, it was midnight. That's when Elsa Pekarek, who was at the party, saw Kiely, she says, around midnight, around 12 a.m. We don't have an exact time. We just can say midnight because we don't know the exact time. But this is another eyewitness per Fox Reno, per KTVL, per My News 4, which is part of the Sinclair Broadcast Corporation. So I trust these publications. I looked up Elsa, found her Instagram. She's a real girl. She looks a real person, a real teenager, a real sporty girl, hanging out with her girlfriends. I believe what she says is true. And I really hope people don't start harassing this girl either. I think it's good that people come out publicly and confess what they say they saw, and the more eyeballs that were on Kiely, the better. She says she saw her around midnight. So right after that is when things started changing. August 6th, 12:30 a.m. There was some mass exodus of cars, and I'm wondering why. So there's a woman, a 42-year-old woman, either she's named Marika Beck or Vec. I don't know, one of the publications I think spelled her last name wrong. So I will just call her Marika. She is the best friend of Kylie's mom. Marika said she heard that, quote, a lot of older boys had crashed the party, and she is fearing that Kiely might have been trafficked. I know it's a common go-to for people to just say, oh, trafficking, but we don't know if that's true. That could be one of the possibilities I'm keeping in my mind after doing all this research. Marika said, we have been told that she may have been with one or more older boys. That's what Marika told the Sun. And so I'm wondering, did someone spot Kiely with one or two older guys? So was it Kylie's plan? I wonder, is this why some stuff isn't being said? I know Sami kind of stumbled through her interview with the All-American Dream Chaser, where Sami kind of said, she's a smart girl. I figured she'd, make it home. And I wonder if what's not being said is, was there a plan to hook up with a guy? You hear different rumors. It's hard to know what's true. Everybody wants to know who Sami got a ride home from. Allegedly, from my research, Sami got a ride home with a male. I don't know who that male is. I don't know if he was the only one in the car with her. It's understandable why people are keeping their names hidden because they see what happens with almost every other person who dares to have their name go on record. Jagger, Kylie's ex-boyfriend, he's still, you'll see at the end, saying, look, I can't wait till you guys see how innocent I am, and catching all these hateful comments. And hopefully Elsa will be fine, but we've seen all the heat on Sami. Even Kylie's parents. There's nothing wrong with theorizing and just letting your mind fill in gaps, but I think some of it goes too far. I've watched people say, oh, her mom didn't cry, and I've seen her mom totally crying. Mags cried. Sami is more, her emotions are different, but that doesn't make her guilty. I've seen people say, well, maybe Kiely did make it home and her parents went off on her and did whatever, and I don't like the looks of that stepdad, and oh my goodness, it's almost mind-boggling to see, as if we're playing a game of Clue, and I get it. I love that game as a kid. It's the butler in the library with the knife. Our minds want to play the game, but I think also just remembering that these are human beings sometimes gets lost. According to Marika, per the Sun, around 12:30 a.m., these guys showed up and it got kind of weird. A lot of the younger teens chose to leave at this time. It was meant to be just teens in the woods. They party there all the time. It's unregulated and it's not a campground. There is drinking and stuff. It's really unfortunate. It's a parent's worst nightmare and we're just trying to get her home. And again, they're asking all teens to come forward. She did not run away. She's a good girl. She graduated a year early with honors. One of the most exceptional teenagers I've ever met in my life. Just like most teens, she wanted to have fun with her friends. This would be totally out of character. We're really concerned she's been taken out of state, potentially trafficked, and heading to the border, so if we can get the borders actively locked down and patrolled for every effing car that goes through there, it's very likely she's still in the car because they haven't found it. That's a possibility. I always notice in these cases too, people always want to blame Mexico. They always want to assume the person was taken there. And maybe that's true, but I see it's more an inordinate amount of theories try and support that claim. There's also an Instagram account that gave a witness to what they saw. It's called One Life Mix It Up. They said, the FBI came knocking at our door Tuesday morning asking for any information we may have about the missing 16-year-old Kiely. The high school party she attended on Friday night was literally 1/2 mile from our campsite. We told them that we only saw a train of cars going to the party 9:30 p.m. and another large group of cars leaving the party 12:30 a.m. Our campground is ground zero for the search and rescue efforts. The sheriff brought out a boat to search the reservoir we're staying at. It's a campground, so we are one of the only regulars. Most of the campers were weekend warriors. And someone asked, do you have any CCTV ring doorbell video that could have recorded all the vehicles leaving? And The Instagram account said, unfortunately, no, we do not. Trust me, if we had anything useful, we would have shared it already. So unfortunately, unlike the Gabby Petito case, where van lifers, campers were integral in catching, video of that van at the crucial spot near where Gabby was found. In this instance, they don't have video. They are eyewitnesses. So this large group of cars leaving the party at 12:30 a.m. Why? Did something specific happen at 12:30 a.m.? If Sami's accounts are true, it sounds like Kiely was still there because someone allegedly, there was some kind of sighting of Kiely at 12:40. What happened at 12:30? Is it like the rumors say? Was there a secondary party that everyone was going to? Did someone say, hey, did you hear about this party at someone's house? Let's go there. And all the cars exit? That's a possibility. Or did something go down? Or someone was spooked or scared and everyone exited? Was there a noise complaint? Is there a noise ordinance? What happened at 12:30 to cause many people to say, we better get out of here? That's the question I have. And at that point, if Kiely was still so drunk, did she meet a guy or two and was some helpful person like, oh, don't worry, I can drive you. I'll drive you home. Or I'll drive you wherever. We don't know. At 12:33 a.m. is when the police claim there was a last known ping from Kiely's cell phone. So that's what we've been told, and the cell phone allegedly was still near the Prosser Creek Reservoir at that point, 12:33 a.m. We've been told several things. They don't all mean the same thing. A ping might not be the same as other terms they've been using. One law enforcement officer said went off the grid. Ping is different from other data terms, and I don't really know the difference. Cell phone experts would know. Captain Sam Brown of the Nevada County Sheriff's Office said, just because it last pinged there doesn't mean that's where the phone stopped pinging. And that was echoed by a Truckee local, which talked about cell phone service going in and out. So pings could have been missed at Prosser. If you watch All American Dream Chaser's latest video, he has a guy out there literally looking around, and the guy sees a hat, and we don't know whose hat it was, but the guy does mention, yeah, I'm losing service. I'm going in and out of service here. So maybe certain pings might have been missed. Certain pings might not have been caught. And that's what Captain Brown reiterated. He said, there are lots of reasons why those notifications or data points could be lost. We can't make glaring assumptions that, oh, Kiely's phone was thrown in the water at exactly 12:33 a.m. Or Kiely's phone went dead at 12:33 a.m. Or Kiely turned off her phone at 12:33 a.m. We don't exactly know what happened and when, if her phone had gone out of service, and then ultimately her phone is off. But swimmers and divers have been searching the lake. That same day, which is now Saturday, August 6th, 12:36 a.m., that's when Sami mentioned an exact time of when Kiely allegedly called her. If you're looking at your call log, I don't know if it shows you exactly when a person calls you or when the call ended, but that's another point of confusion, because if the cops are saying 12:33, her phone's off the grid, and Sami's saying 12:36, she's getting a phone call, that's where it's confusing. But what's also interesting is when Sami told the Sun, find all these links below, the last recording sighting of her was 12:40 a.m. Now, I don't know if cops are telling Sami not to say everything or what. I don't know what she means by last recording sighting. Does that mean that Kiely was caught on camera somewhere on video that they've discovered at 12:40 a.m.? Was that when she was wearing that odd future hoodie? That's one thing that police haven't told us. They told us that Kiely was indeed caught on video wearing that hoodie, but they haven't given us a timestamp. And one thing Annie Elise of 10 to Life, she astutely caught the fact, if you go back and watch Sami's video with All American Dream Chaser, how Sami does mention in there, she kind of alludes to, she says, oh yeah, Kiely was wearing that black bodysuit for sure. When we were peeing in the woods, I remember that black bodysuit. But she says something about, oh yeah, later if something comes out about a shirt change. So I hadn't caught that before, but I'm glad 10 to Life caught it, because I see now that Sami may have been holding things back that she must have discussed with police or whomever, or maybe the teen-to-teen talks. Maybe it came through that, and that it's now out in the public. I don't know what law enforcement told Sami to hold back, what's okay to tell the public and what's not. But Sami is saying for some reason the last recorded sighting of her was 12:40 a.m. Maybe it was that video. Maybe she was wearing that Odd Future hoodie. And Sami said, I was the last person to speak to her at 12:36 a.m. when she asked me if I still needed a ride home. A lot of people are questioning, how would you know that you were the last person to speak to her? I don't know if it's something once again passed on from the cops to Sami, to others. You know how cops, they still talk. Word gets around town. If cops through their research at a certain point saw, okay, all Kiely's outgoing and incoming calls, the last one was Sami's number, maybe that's how she knew. Because people are equating that to, how do you know you were the last person? As if they're saying, you must be the guilty party. How else would you know? But I look at things differently, like maybe she found out through law enforcement's research. Sami went on to tell The Sun there were sketchy older guys at the party. She said, quote, now we know there were a lot of college people, teens are coming out in our teen-to-teen talks. There were a lot of sketchy older guys that were seen there. This was right about when I left and we had that last contact. So the situation you can see was getting more precarious by the minute. Mags, for some reason, left after 10 minutes. I mean, sounds like Mags was out of there by 11 p.m. It sounds like Sami and Kiely, reportedly party friends, just kept partying, and it's after midnight and she's spotted, and then it's getting later and later and something happens to cause this 12:30 exodus of cars. Kiely's still there, her plan to get really effed up and drunk. Sami saying she was really drunk. The alleged Ronnies and his cousins are saying, yeah, allegedly she was stumbling or whatever around saying hi to people. We don't know what'll come out in the wash as truth or what's exaggeration, what's lies, but we can see a picture already of this young, inebriated girl who most likely is alone. Mags is gone. Sami's gone. Who is Kiely's friend? And that can be a dangerous place to be this young, drunk, 16-year-old girl at this party with some guys, older guys, maybe some of them had bad intentions, drugs. You know, we're hearing this and we just see it's getting later and later. And Kiely's plan allegedly to, push her curfew. It just sounds like a dangerous situation that went horribly wrong. So by August 6th, by 8 a.m., Kiely's mom woke up, realized Kiely wasn't home. Of course, people are giving her a hard time too. Why didn't Lindsay wait up? Wouldn't you wait up for your daughter? Of course, we like to all say, yeah, of course I would, and I would do this, and I would be this perfect parent. And I'm sure Lindsay could wish 100 times over she would have stayed awake and done whatever she could to make sure Kiely got home. Even watched her if she could have and known, whoa, I don't see her traveling on her location. Or again, if you can afford it, $10 a month, Life 360, watch your loved ones on the map and you share your family circle. But Kiely's mom checked Kiely's phone location by 8 a.m. It said Kiely's last location was at the Prosser campground. So that's when Lindsay called Kiely's best friend. I'm assuming she means Mags. And Mags said that, she had left the party early. Mags had left the party early, so that checks out. That makes sense. But Mags said, look, I was planning on meeting Kiely at Starbucks at 9 a.m. to go camping. So Kiely's friends had gone over to Prosser Campground. I know Sami had spoke to the press about that. They were looking for her there just to see, did she fall asleep out here? What happened? But they couldn't find Kiely or her car. So August 6th, at 9 a.m., Kiely's mom waits at Starbucks in Truckee with Kiely's friends, just hoping against hope. I can just imagine the scene. Hoping Kiely will show up to go camping, but she doesn't. So that's when Lindsay called the police to file a missing persons report. So indeed, she knew something was wrong by then. Well, she's not home. Her friends can't find her at the campground. Yikes. Kiely hasn't shown up at Starbucks. So that's when we hear August 6th, 12:54, California, Nevada County Public Safety said they're going to assist Placer County Sheriff at the Prosser Reservoir. So I'm thinking the Prosser County Sheriff was already on the job. I don't know what time Lindsay got in touch with the police to file the missing persons report. Maybe it was around 10 a.m. So we're kind of missing some time in there, but I'm assuming the sheriff got right on it. And by 12:54, Nevada County is trying to help them. Then August 6th, 2022 at 4:53 p.m., the Dead Winter Carpenters posts what would be what I could find the first Facebook public post about Kiely going missing. This is when they wrote that Kiely was last seen about 1:30 a.m. And they talk about her being a teenager who will be almost 17 in less than a month. So that's the first post I would find. I found out about the case the next day on Sunday. That's where that 1:30 a.m. time came from, because at that point, I'm sure people are thinking, I have no idea what time it was, and they maybe hadn't checked their phones. They didn't know who saw Kiely. Maybe they pulled a time out of the air and said 1:30 a.m. Maybe that's the last time she was seen. As time passes and there's more time to check phones, check videos, check timestamps, what we're going with now is that Kiely was allegedly, last recorded sighting of her was 12:40 a.m. August 6th. So by August 6th, 7:30 p.m., the Placer County Sheriff's Office, they released their missing persons statement, and some people were criticizing them for, why did it happen that late at night? I found a comment by Lindsay on Saturday, August 6th at 8:16 p.m. On that post, apparently, she wrote, "Thanks, family. Placer, Nevada, and TNSAR have all been dispatched. If anyone knows someone who was at the party and saw her last night, please reach out." Obviously, Lindsay couldn't sleep and she was posting herself. August 7th, which would have been Sunday, that's the day I found out about this, so obviously it was really starting to go viral. Lindsay posted a public Facebook post about Kiely going missing. That was at 3:45 a.m., so she was up. I remember finding out about it on Web Sleuths. Now this was interesting. August 7th at 4:04 p.m., a woman named Abigail Gallup posted a Facebook post alerting Tahoe Truckee parents and kids, telling them, bring the community together to find Kiely. One thing that stood out to me in her post is she said the police are not treating this as a possible abduction, but her friends and family are. So at that point, she said they weren't treating it as an abduction. And I wonder if when that first dispatch I could find went out, said they were searching Prosser Reservoir, did they immediately go to the water's edge? Was that the first search? Did they assume, oh, this teenage girl drove off the road somewhere? Maybe. And maybe, their hands might have been tied by bureaucracy. We know law enforcement wanted an Amber Alert. They wanted certain things, but there's certain criteria that have to be met. Even though they might want certain things categorized as such, they might not be able to do what they even want to do. So by Monday, August 8th, the case really starts going viral. Family and friends host search parties at the Truckee Donner Recreational Center and District Park. And Placer County Sheriff's Office starts holding press conferences, and they announce that the FBI is part of the investigation. I'm not sure if it's because of where the party took place, the federal grounds on which Kiely was last seen. Do they have any evidence of her being taken across state lines and they're not telling us? But one thing I love with Placer County is how they are responding on Twitter and social media to certain notions, and they are clearing things up before they, run away too wild with theories. August 15th, 1:45 p.m., Placer County wrote, "There definitely was not hundreds of videos, photos. We have been transparent with the public from the beginning. We need the public to trust us to do our job, but we still need the community's help in gathering that information." That seemed like a direct response to Sami claiming, oh yeah, they have hundreds of photos and videos now. So they immediately came back and said there definitely was not hundreds. So that's the timeline pretty much up until today. Thursday, August 18th. As I record this, we're waiting on Adventures with Purpose coming, reportedly attempting to arrive Friday, August 19th. Hopefully they can start their search as soon as they get there. I mean, they might need daylight. I don't know their procedures. Adventures with Purpose usually goes live when they're searching. They'll do these hours and hours long lives. Maybe by Saturday, August 20th, who knows? There might be a miracle. Maybe they'll find something. As I sit here, there was a different couple, unfortunately, in the Reno type area. The couple had gone missing, and unfortunately, they were found. They weren't alive. They had apparently run off the road, been ejected from the car. We don't have a lot of details about what happened there, if it was drunk driving, or if they got into a single car accident, or if another car was involved, or if someone swerved to avoid an animal, or if someone fell asleep. We just don't know. But that leads me to believe, and I know it's not necessarily the same direction as Kiely would have traveled, but it leads me to believe that's one possibility. It could have simply been an accident with Kiely. Maybe she really did leave the party around 12:40-ish after wherever that last recorded sighting of her was, and maybe she was in an accident and her car just hasn't been spotted yet. Another theory is also that she could have been abducted, based on the fact that her Honda CR-V is also missing. So Lindsay said that investigators are still piecing together whether or not Kiely could still be in that campground area. Now, this is a quote. Lindsay is saying, quote, "They are not saying definitively that her car isn't there, but saying they've looked and looked and looked and can't find it there. There's only a certain number of times you look for the same thing on your nightstand." The lack of forward movement in new information in this case has not been for a lack of resources or personnel or of want. Everyone has thrown everything at this. There have been tons of resources placed on this case. And I know what Kiely's mom is saying and why cops would tell her, "We've looked and looked and looked. We can't find Kiely's car here at the reservoir." And I definitely understand why they would not definitively say, her car is definitely not here. We would have found it if it were here. Because then if Adventures with Purpose comes in and finds the car using all their fancy equipment, and I hope they're able to raise all the money they need to find that extra special doodad they're trying to raise money for, because they do excellent work. If Adventures with Purpose came in there and they found Kiely's car, then, cops don't want to have egg on their face, and they don't ever want to say definitively, yeah, we know for certain she's not here. So they're being smart and cautious with their words, and they're really working hard. Lindsay said, "I don't know what happened to her. I'm trying not to fall down any rabbit holes or create a narrative or to try to piece together bits and pieces to make any kind of narrative. So much of getting through life is acceptance, so we're just working hard on accepting that right at this minute we don't know what happened, and we're holding on to faith and hope." So there's certain leads, that investigators will let Lindsay know about. That potential burial site turned out to be a dog. Lindsay said, "We have as a family asked them to share any information with us when they feel that it's worthy of doing so. We don't want to pull them away from important work to share with us every single tip that comes through." And she's really supporting them in doing their jobs. She just still wants people to come forward. Lindsay is still invested in pleading for people to come forward just as she was from day one. If it's photos of your friends and it doesn't seem important, there's a story still to be pieced together, and those photos tell 1,000 words. So as many pieces as they can get will help. There's no photo that's too small, no piece of info that's too mundane. And thankfully, Lindsay is trying to focus on a little bit of self-care. Family members have come from all over to support her. There's been moments of laughter and telling stories mixed with the tears. Lindsay is getting by minute to minute, and she's not counting the days since she last saw her daughter, because that's kind of heavy, I can imagine. And she's taking comfort in a voluntary organization made up of parents who've suffered through the same tragedy that they are going through right now. Speaking to people who can truly and understand the situation is helpful. So there's been more than 1,100 tips coming in, and the police have been able to knock a lot down, but they don't want all the duplicates that waste their time. They've shared, the sticker of the ram on Kiely's SUV. They don't know which hoodie she had with her. One thing, too, is that Kiely's laptop is also missing. Apparently, according to The Sun, Kiely also had an iPad, which is at home, but her laptop is believed to have been in her car. And I wonder if that's another thing that might have enticed foul play. If she had some really nice MacBook or something visible in her car, was that another reason? Could it have been a theft gone wrong? So in the meantime, Jagger Westfall, Kylie's ex-boyfriend, is posting his old Snapchat memories and photos with her, one that shows her phone and that sticker on the back. And he's saying, I need your help to bring her home, please. There's no punishment. You will get $75,000 and a Hellcat. We know that Ryan Upchurch brilliantly is offering up his Hellcat to anyone who can just come forward. He said, this girl's my entire world. That's what Jagger wrote. Please come forward. I know what y'all would do if this was someone you loved. The sheriff's office has cleared it up to say Kiely was loaned that black Lana Del Rey sweatshirt. Her mom did say it belonged to Mags. She was loaned that black sweatshirt the same day, but they have video of Kiely wearing the white sweatshirt with the odd future at some point during the party. I don't know if they might not have a timestamp. I don't know. And someone else wrote, we need to see the photos and the videos, all of them. Best way to dispel most of the assumptions and rumors. Part of me agrees with that. You know, it's a crapshoot. Some stuff you want to hold close to your vest. Some stuff you want to bring out publicly because that might help bring more answers. It might spark more memory. It might urge more people to come forward. But the sheriff's office said that's the responsibility of our detectives and FBI investigators. When there are updates, we'll put them in press releases. We appreciate everyone's patience as our detectives and investigators work around the clock to develop new information that can lead up to Kiely. Jagger was still fielding comments. Someone said, shouldn't be letting your girl go to a party alone in the first place. And Jagger said, also for the record, I didn't want her going, but she wouldn't listen, so. And he also wrote, she's not my girl and I don't control her and I also live 4 hours away. So he's setting people straight. Someone also wrote, if I was you, I would be there looking for her all day, all night, till I find her. Jagger wrote, yeah, and I was until I ran out of places to look. And then the feds took it over. But Jagger had put up a quick TikTok image video that said, can't wait till you all clowns see how innocent I am, laughing my ass off. Someone else had written to Jagger, damn bro, why are you going to do your ex-girlfriend like that? Shaking my head. Hashtag we know the truth. Jagger wrote, what truth do you know? Kylie's mom made sure to say that her friends are being nothing but cooperative and so courageous in coming forward. Apparently, no one in the family allegedly suspects anyone, any of her friends. And some people are saying, well, yeah, maybe her mom is just playing that role and because she doesn't know what happened. And maybe she's just being nice to everyone so they will, speak out. Maybe like keep your enemies closer type of thing. Who knows? On behalf of Sammy, another person spoke out. Daisy Cole wrote, Sam is one of my best friends. I will continue to stand by her side. I understand all the conspiracies and theories and I can see where they come from. I just want to add that Sam is one of the most loyal and friendly people I know. She's goofy and outgoing and only has Kylie's best interest in mind. And this person, Daisy, claims Sam has never dated Jagger. And that's what can be so frustrating. I mean, I don't envy police who have to interview people. What's most frustrating about trying to get facts about a case like this, you will find just as many people claiming, oh yeah, Sammy did date Jagger. And you're being told, no, they didn't date. Yes, they did date. I just choose to believe I guess the parties involved, Jagger saying they didn't date, and some folks, they just find it funny to interject themselves and you sometimes just don't know who's telling the truth until it all shakes down. Another person wrote on Facebook, I hope your friends let law enforcement know that Sammy's story isn't matching your friends, especially if they were there. Her poor family has no answers really, and it really is mind-boggling. No one but Sammy saw her, so we know that part isn't true anymore. I'm sure the kids are scared, but I pray someone speaks up. One person has to know something. But Emma Golden wrote, they all gave statements, and that's what I'm saying. Someone had to have seen something. And she was asked, did your friends remember seeing Kiely at the party? And Emma wrote yes. So there's another person out there who is saying, yeah, my friends saw Kiely at the party too. So as more and more people come out, Sammy says she was with Kiely most of the time. Mags arrived at the party with her but left after 10 minutes. We have Elsa claiming to see Sammy at the party around midnight. We have video evidence from the police that they haven't released, but I trust exists of Kiely at the party. We don't know what time. We have Emma claiming her friends saw Kiely at the party. So there are enough witnesses in my mind to dispel, the one suspicion where people are like, what if Kiely never even went to the party? I don't think That's a valid theory with all these witnesses who've seen her. We just don't know perhaps exactly what time she left and who she left with, how she left, or what. So my possibilities in my mind are that Kiely may have run off the road somewhere and her CR...
Sorry, could you say that again?
I'm thinking Kiely could have run off the road somewhere and her CRV might be hard to see from the road. Kiely may have driven into water. She may have been the victim of foul play by people who knew her, a person, singular, or a group of people who are covering it up. She may have been the victim of foul play from a stranger or someone she had just met. Very unlikely, but I'll just throw it in here. Kiely could have taken her own life or run away. I think those scenarios are really unlikely by what her friends and family members are saying, but when you study these cases, you have to keep all possibilities open. There's the chance with all this talk of drugs and stuff, Kiely may have OD'd and the supplier or person who hid her or gave her whatever substances or what have you may have fears coming forward because they know they will face charges. There's a lot of possibilities. I'm keeping hope that Kiely will be found. I don't want it to turn into a Suzanne Morphew case where you're dragging on and on and on to try and find a victim. Let's close with Exodus 20:16. You shall not testify falsely, that is, lie, withhold, or manipulate the truth against your neighbor or any person. So I hope the Holy Spirit continues to needle away at the person, whether a person is holding Kiely somewhere against her will, whether a person has done away with Kiely, whether people know more than what they're saying, or whether it's just an unfortunate accident. I hope Adventures with Purpose can find her. I know they say you don't get closure, but still give her family some answers, so they're not waiting in agony for 20 years, never knowing like some of these cases end up turning out. Thank God with the technology we do have, sometimes families don't have to wait that long. And thank God for Adventures with Purpose, using their skills, falling into this type of career when they started off just looking for submerged cars and ended up finding remains and then making a purpose, a career, a purpose out of helping people. So let's pray for favor in Jesus' name on them, on the search, on everything. And I'll just keep going, researching this, of course, and other cases and see how they resolve. That's everything. Check the links below for more info if you want. You can always start and watch the playlist again if you don't know about the case. Thank you. As always, take care.